Welcome to the module Accelerated Intervention. We value your time and appreciate your active participation during this module. Here are a few suggested learning norms to make the most of your time. If possible, work in an environment with as few distractions as possible so you can engage and reflect. Take notes and jot down ideas and questions as needed. Lastly, use this time wisely to ensure your professional learning with university instructors is productive. Here's our agenda for today's module. What is accelerated intervention? Why accelerated intervention matters? Using data to target needs, strategies that work, planning for success, and collaboration and next steps. Here are the learning objectives for this module. By the end of this session, participants will be able to define accelerated intervention versus remediation, identify strategies for targeting unfinished learning, learn how to use data to plan intervention efficiently, explore tools and resources to support students in real time. Before we can learn to plan for accelerated intervention, we must first understand what it is. Accelerated intervention provides students with extra support and time to address learning gaps while keeping them engaged with grade level content. Unlike traditional remediation, which may pull students away from current topics, accelerated intervention integrates foundational skills practice into the ongoing curriculum through targeted mini lessons, small group work, or one-on-one tutoring. The goal is to help students catch up without falling further behind and to boost their confidence and self-efficacy. Imagine you are on a field trip with your class. You are visiting a national park where students participate in a guided tour. 5 of your 35 students start to fall behind, distracted by something they saw, while the other 30 students keep moving forward with the guide. What do? Do you allow those 5 students to slow down, fall further behind, and hope they catch up to the rest of the group before it's time to board the bus and leave? Or do you find out what is causing them to slow down, address it, and quickly move them forward to join the rest of the group so they don't miss out on what the guide is teaching them? Obviously, you would choose the latter, which represents accelerated intervention, addressing gaps in real time while keeping students engaged and current with grade level content. The first option is an example of traditional remediation, where instructors focus so much time on helping students master past grade level skills that students fall further and further behind in current content and skills, making it impossible to ever catch up. This slide highlights the key differences between acceleration and traditional remediation. Traditional remediation often focuses on reteaching all the content a student missed, which can slow down progress and keep students below grade level because they are missing out on new content. Students may spend weeks or months reviewing past material without ever fully engaging with current grade level work, which can be frustrating and counterproductive. Acceleration, on the other hand, moves students forward while strategically filling gaps. It targets just the prerequisite skills needed to access today's grade level instruction, allowing students to participate meaningfully in current lessons. In short, remediation looks backward and often keeps students in a cycle of review, while acceleration looks forward, maintaining high expectations and providing the support students need to succeed now. This approach has been shown to improve engagement, learning outcomes, and equity across all student groups. Based on what you've learned so far, How would you explain or represent accelerated intervention? Describe accelerated intervention in one sentence as if you were explaining it to a colleague or parent. Pause the video at this time to jot down your sentence. A possible response might be, accelerated intervention is an intensive targeted support designed to help a student quickly catch up on critical skills they've missed so they can keep up with grade level expectations. In this section, we'll explore why acceleration is so important for student learning. Many students enter class with gaps from prior instruction. These can be small or large, but if left unaddressed, they can prevent students from fully accessing grade level content. Acceleration is a proactive approach to instruction. Instead of waiting for students to master every missed skill before moving forward, acceleration ensures students can access today's grade level learning while simultaneously building the prerequisite skills they need, just in time. This approach raises expectations rather than lowering them. Research shows that maintaining high expectations while providing targeted support improves outcomes for all student groups, including those furthest behind. Acceleration also ensures equitable opportunities. It prevents students from being tracked into slower courses and instead prepares them for college, careers, and future success. The goal is clear. Keep learning moving forward. Don't pause, don't rewind, and don't let gaps prevent students from engaging with grade level content. Research and post-pandemic data show that unfinished learning is widespread. Many students are currently 1 to 2 years behind grade level in reading and math. Factors like chronic absenteeism, frequent school changes, and other disruptions make these gaps even more pronounced. Traditional remediation approaches often fall short. Simply reteaching everything students missed can keep them stuck below grade level for months without helping them access current grade level content. This approach can keep students in catch-up mode, where they are constantly reviewing old material while falling further behind in grade level work, thus leading to a loss in motivation and feelings of success. This is why accelerated intervention is so important. It allows students to move forward while filling essential gaps rather than getting stuck in a cycle of remediation. By providing targeted supports, we ensure that all students can access grade level work rather than being held back or tracked into less rigorous pathways. When students are given the opportunity to engage with grade level content, they build both confidence and competence. Research shows that students in accelerated programs not only catch up faster to their peers, but also stay more engaged and motivated because they experience success with meaningful, challenging work. In short, acceleration ensures that students aren't left behind and that every learner has the chance to meet high expectations. One common myth is that acceleration means skipping content. In reality, it means pre-teaching essential prerequisite skills so students can access grade level work without missing critical learning. Another myth is that only advanced students benefit. Research shows that students who are furthest behind often make the most progress when given access to grade level content with appropriate support. Some think acceleration takes too much time, but many lessons and just-in-time supports can be embedded into existing lessons and actually save time by reducing the need for prolonged remediation later. Some instructors worry it's extra work, but acceleration can replace remediation blocks and with collaboration and careful planning becomes a manageable part of regular instruction. Finally, there's concern that students will be overwhelmed, but scaffolds such as modeling, sentence stems, and graphic organizers build confidence and help students experience success immediately. Now that we understand what accelerated intervention is not, let's look at what it is. First, acceleration focuses forward. We prioritize teaching the skills students need right now to access grade level content, rather than reteaching everything they missed in the past. Second, grade level rigor is maintained. Acceleration does not lower expectations. Students are engaged with meaningful, challenging content with the supports they need to succeed. Third, we target skills efficiently. By focusing on prerequisite skills, we make the biggest impact in the shortest time. Fourth, scaffolds are essential. Tools like modeling, visuals, sentence stems, and gradual release allow students to access complex content successfully. Fifth, data drives instruction. Frequent quick checks like exit tickets or mini assessments tell us who needs support and guides our next steps. The key takeaway is that acceleration is strategic, proactive, and designed to keep students moving forward with grade level learning while closing essential gaps. Let's take a minute to reflect. Where do you currently see unfinished learning or prerequisite skill gaps in your students' work? How do you typically respond when students are below grade level? Do you reteach old content or move forward with scaffolds? Stop the video to write down your thoughts at this time, while also considering how you might approach these gaps differently based on what you have learned so far in this module. In this section, we'll focus on how to use data effectively to identify student learning gaps and target interventions. To target acceleration effectively, we need multiple sources of data. First, universal screeners can help us identify students who may need support even before instruction begins, giving us advance notice of potential gaps. You may need to ask your point of contact or colleagues if your school uses a universal screener, and if so, where you can find that data. Formative assessments are another key source. These daily or weekly checks, like quizzes, exit tickets, or class polls, allow us to monitor understanding in real time and adjust instruction as needed. Student work samples also provide rich information. By examining patterns of errors, misconceptions, or reasoning gaps, we can see exactly where students need targeted support. Finally, observations are invaluable. Notes from small groups, independent work, or whole class participation help us understand how students are engaging with the material and where scaffolds or acceleration might be needed. Using these data sources together gives us a comprehensive picture and ensures acceleration strategies are planned, precise, and effective. When using data to identify student needs, it's important to focus on prerequisite skills that are essential for upcoming lessons or units, as opposed to every single skill students may have missed. Trying to reteach everything can slow learning and keep students from engaging with grade level content. Another idea is to review grade level standards and identify skills or concepts that unlock understanding across multiple standards. By prioritizing these high leverage skills, we ensure that the support we provide has the greatest impact on student learning. The goal is to make acceleration targeted and efficient. Address the skills that matter most so students can succeed with grade level work while gaps are filled just in time. Once we've identified the prerequisite skills students need, the next step is to group them by urgency. Not all gaps are equally critical. Some skills are essential for accessing the next lesson, while others can be addressed later without delaying grade level learning. Grouping skills by urgency allows us to target instruction efficiently. For example, a student who struggles with a single prerequisite concept that unlocks the current lesson should receive immediate support, whereas less critical gaps can be scheduled for future mini lessons or independent practice. This prioritization ensures that acceleration is timely and impactful, keeping students moving forward with grade level content rather than pausing to reteach everything at once. Targeting student needs doesn't have to be complicated. Simple tools can make data actionable and manageable. For example, a basic spreadsheet can track which skills each student has mastered and which needs support. Sticky notes, color-coded charts, data walls, or checklists can also help you quickly visualize patterns and group students based on their needs. Even a simple table of upcoming lessons and corresponding prerequisite skills can guide just-in-time support. The key is to use tools that save time, make data visible, and help you plan efficiently so you can focus on instruction rather than getting bogged down in complex data systems. Let's pause to reflect once more. What data sources do you currently use to identify student learning gaps? Which data points give you the clearest picture of prerequisite skills for upcoming lessons? How do you decide which gaps to address first? Stop the video to jot down your thoughts. In this next section, we'll explore practical instructional strategies that support accelerated intervention. These strategies are designed to help students access grade level content while simultaneously addressing essential skill gaps. The 5 strategies we will look closely at are just-in-time support, flexible small groups, scaffolded tasks and gradual release, high-impact feedback, and technology-enhanced practice. Short mini lessons, typically 5 to 10 minutes, are an effective way to provide just-in-time support. These mini lessons can be delivered either before or during grade level instruction, depending on student needs. Focus on pre-teaching essential vocabulary, background knowledge, or procedures that students need to successfully engage with the day's lesson. For example, before a science lab, an instructor might review key concepts learned from previous experiments, while in ELA, a few minutes could be spent introducing academic vocabulary like thesis statements, evidence, or expository writing. The primary benefit is that students remain on grade level while simultaneously filling critical skill gaps. This approach keeps learning moving forward rather than pausing or backtracking excessively. Here are a couple of concrete examples of short mini lessons in action. In an elementary classroom, imagine teaching third graders how to solve fractions in word problems. Before starting the main lesson, the instructor might spend a few minutes quickly reviewing the steps for multiplying fractions. This ensures students have the foundational knowledge they need to engage successfully with grade level content. In a secondary classroom, consider a high school biology lesson on cellular respiration. The instructor might start with a brief review of key chemistry concepts, such as ATP and enzymes, before diving into the complex pathways. This quick pre-teaching allows students to access the grade level content without getting stuck on missing prerequisite knowledge. In both cases, the mini lesson is short, targeted, and directly connected to the day's grade level objectives, keeping students on track while addressing essential skill gaps. Flexible small groups are an essential strategy for accelerated instruction. Students are grouped by the specific skills they need rather than by grade level or ability. This ensures that support is targeted and meaningful. Groups are dynamic. Students move in and out as they master skills, so the groups are always reflecting current learning needs. This flexibility prevents students from being stuck in a static, low group and allows everyone to engage with grade level content. Instructors can use rotations or station models to provide targeted practice. For example, while one group receives focused instruction on a prerequisite skill, Other groups might work independently, collaborate in pairs, or use technology-based practice. This structure maximizes instructional time and keeps all students engaged. In an elementary classroom, imagine a math station rotation. One group works on subtraction strategies using manipulatives, another practices word problems with instructor guidance, and a third engages in an independent fluency game using a technology app. Students move between stations as they master skills, ensuring targeted support while keeping everyone engaged. In a secondary English classroom, students might be organized into small reading groups to analyze a text. Group A focuses on decoding complex vocabulary, Group B practices identifying themes, and Group C works on writing short responses. These groups are flexible, allowing students to shift as they gain mastery. In both cases, grouping is skill-based and dynamic, allowing instructors to target instruction efficiently while keeping students actively engaged with grade-level work. Scaffolded instruction helps students tackle complex tasks by breaking them into smaller, manageable steps. This allows students to build understanding gradually rather than feeling overwhelmed. Effective scaffolds include modeling, sentence stems, and graphic organizers. These tools provide structure and guidance while students are learning new concepts or skills. A commonly used framework is gradual release, or I do, we do, you do. The instructor first models the task, then works through examples together with students during guided practice, and finally allows students to complete work independently. Scaffolded instruction ensures that students can access grade-level content, gradually develop independence, and build confidence in their learning. Here are examples of scaffolded instruction across grade levels. In an elementary classroom, consider a writing lesson. The instructor begins by modeling how to write a paragraph with a topic sentence and 3 detail sentences, or the I do. Next, students compose a paragraph together on a given prompt and using sentence frames, or we do. Finally, students write their own paragraph independently, using the same criteria as the instructor modeled and the partners practiced, or you do. This scaffolding and gradual release ensures all students can access the grade level task while helping the instructor gather data on potential learning gaps. In a secondary classroom, consider an algebra lesson. The instructor first demonstrates how to solve a multi-step equation, or I do. Then students solve a couple problems together on whiteboards. We do. Finally, students complete independent practice problems, or you do. In both cases, scaffolds and gradual release provide the support needed for students to engage successfully with grade-level content while filling critical skill gaps. High-impact feedback is essential in accelerated instruction because it helps students correct misconceptions and deepen understanding while staying engaged. Effective feedback should be timely, specific, and actionable. It tells students not only what is correct or incorrect, but also how to improve. For example, instead of simply marking an answer wrong, you might say, "Remember to carry the 1 in this step. Try rewriting the equation this way." Feedback should also reinforce effort and celebrate growth. Acknowledging progress helps maintain motivation and encourages students to continue engaging with challenging content. So instead of saying, "That's still wrong, try again," you could say, "Good job at remembering to carry the 1 this time." Or, "I see you attempted to rewrite the equation. Let's break it down to see what we missed." When feedback is clear and constructive, students can act on it immediately, which makes acceleration much more effective. Choose one scenario from the elementary or secondary examples. Reflect on how you would provide high-impact feedback to the student. Remember, high-impact feedback clearly identifies what to fix and how to fix it, supports growth, and keeps students engaged. Pause the video at this time to write down your feedback. Possible responses to the first elementary example, the student read 507 as 570. Your feedback could be, you read most of the number correctly. Remember that the last digit, 7, is in the ones place, so 507 is read as 507. Try reading it aloud slowly, focusing on each place value. The second example, I went to school, I saw my friend. Feedback could be, great start to your sentence. Notice that I should be capitalized, and we can add punctuation for clarity. Try writing, I went to school, period. I saw my friend, period. Keep checking your capitalization and sentence breaks as you write. For the secondary examples, the first one, the student consistently includes unrelated points in essays that don't connect to the thesis, and possible feedback could be, you have some interesting ideas here. To strengthen your essay, make sure each paragraph clearly supports your thesis. Try underlining your thesis and checking each point. Does it connect? If not, revise or remove it. And the second example where the student writes 3x plus 4, feedback could be, you're on the right track with distributing the 3. Remember that multiplication distributes to both terms inside the parentheses. So 3 times x plus 3 times 4 equals 3x plus 12. Try rewriting this step carefully and checking your work. A final strategy for accelerated intervention is technology-enhanced practice. This is a powerful tool for acceleration because it can provide individualized support while keeping students engaged with grade-level content. Adaptive programs adjust to each student's skill level, presenting tasks that are appropriately challenging and helping fill gaps just in time. They provide immediate feedback to students so they can correct errors and reinforce learning right away, and they give instructors real-time data to guide instruction and groupings. These programs can be used across subjects, including fluency and vocabulary in reading, math skills practice, or science simulations. When integrated thoughtfully, technology can complement other acceleration strategies like mini lessons, scaffolds, and targeted feedback, making instruction both efficient and effective. In an elementary classroom, a reading program might adapt text complexity based on student fluency and comprehension, while math software adjusts the difficulty of subtraction and multiplication problems as students master skills. In a middle school ELA classroom, an adaptive reading platform can adjust text complexity and comprehension questions based on student responses, focusing on skills like inference and theme analysis. In a secondary classroom, an AP biology simulation allows students to model genetic crosses and receive immediate feedback, helping them practice complex content in a safe, interactive environment. In each case, adaptive technology provides just-in-time support, immediate feedback, and actionable data, making it a powerful tool to accelerate learning while keeping students engaged with grade-level content. We've covered a lot of content in this section. Let's pause to reflect once more. Which strategies could you implement immediately in your classroom? What barriers might prevent you from implementing these strategies effectively? Which strategy do you think would have the biggest impact on student engagement and learning this week? Pause the video to write down your answers. In this section, we'll focus on how to intentionally plan for accelerated intervention so that it's effective and sustainable in your classroom. Planning is essential because even the best strategies won't have maximum impact without clear goals, data-driven decisions, and structured implementation. Acceleration is most effective when it is planned intentionally rather than added as an afterthought. Think of it as being layered into your lesson, built into the flow of instruction, rather than as extra work outside the regular lesson plan. The goal is to ensure that students can access grade-level content while simultaneously filling critical skills gaps. By planning with acceleration in mind, we create lessons that are efficient, targeted, and meaningful, allowing all students to engage with rigorous content without unnecessary delays. When planning for accelerated intervention, start by clearly identifying the learning target, what students should know and be able to do by the end of the lesson. Keep targets aligned to grade level standards and ensure students understand the goal. Next, list the prerequisite skills students need to succeed, focusing only on essential building blocks rather than reteaching entire past standards. Use flexible grouping here to pre-teach or review specific skills as needed, allowing students to move in and out of groups based on current needs. Then, plan just-in-time supports, such as mini lessons, vocabulary previews, or guided practice that provide timely scaffolds without slowing instruction. Be sure to include acceleration opportunities in the lesson plan by possibly embedding technology tools that maintain engagement and access to grade-level content, such as adaptive learning platforms, collaborative digital activities, or interactive simulations. Finally, monitor and adjust in real time by using quick formative checks to regroup students, offer targeted reteaching, or assign enrichment tasks through digital resources. The goal is to maintain a dynamic, responsive approach that keeps every student connected to grade level learning through intentional use of flexible groups and technology. Now let's look at some classroom examples. Here's an elementary example. As you listen, identify how the instructor has planned for accelerated intervention, including identifying the learning target, listing prerequisite skills, providing just-in-time and acceleration opportunities, and where students will receive extra support. In a third grade math lesson, students multiply fractions and word problems. The instructor begins with a 5-minute mini lesson reviewing numerators and denominators using fraction strips and modeling fraction multiplication. Students then work in pairs on a few practice problems while receiving immediate feedback. Next, they complete grade-level word problems independently with visual supports as needed. The lesson concludes with a quick exit ticket to check for understanding. How did the instructor plan for accelerated intervention? The learning target is underlined. The prerequisite skills are in red. The just-in-time and acceleration opportunities are highlighted. And the plan where students will receive extra support is in bold. Scaffolds like visual models, sentence frames, and peer discussion help students access and succeed with grade-level content. Here is a middle school example. As you listen, identify how the instructor has planned for accelerated intervention, including identifying the learning target, listing prerequisite skills, providing just-in-time and acceleration opportunities, and where students will receive extra support. In a 7th grade ELA lesson, students identify the theme of a short story. The instructor begins with a brief mini lesson modeling how to identify the main idea and supporting details using a graphic organizer. Students then annotate a paragraph in pairs, highlighting key ideas and receiving immediate feedback. Afterward, they read the full story independently and identify the theme using the previously modeled strategy. The lesson concludes with a quick formative check, writing a 2 to 3 sentence explanation of the theme with supporting evidence. How did the instructor plan for accelerated intervention? The learning target is underlined. The prerequisite skills are in red. The just-in-time and acceleration opportunities are highlighted, and the plan where students will receive extra support is in bold. Scaffolds such as graphic organizers, sentence starters, and peer discussion help students access grade-level work successfully. Let's look at an example of a 10th grade chemistry lesson. As you listen, identify how the instructor has planned for accelerated intervention, including identifying the learning target, listing prerequisite skills, providing just-in-time and acceleration opportunities, and where students will receive extra support. In a 10th grade chemistry lesson, students are learning to calculate reaction yields. The instructor begins with a short video that reviews balancing chemical equations and understanding limiting reactants, and then shares a visual model using a technology simulation. Students are then placed in pairs and given step-by-step checklists to guide them through the process for calculating reaction yields. After monitoring progress, the instructor provides a multi-step lab with visuals as needed for students to complete independently. To check for understanding, the instructor administers a quick formative assessment using whiteboards for students to show their work. How did the instructor plan for accelerated intervention? The learning target is underlined, the prerequisite skills are in red, the just-in-time and acceleration opportunities are highlighted, and the plan where students will receive extra support is in bold. You have now planned for accelerated interventions by focusing on a review of prerequisite skills, using gradual release for modeling and practice, and assessing understanding after teaching. What if some students are still struggling with concepts? This is where we plan for targeted supports using flexible grouping and rotations. Flexible grouping and rotations are key components of planning for accelerated intervention. Instructors organize a small group or partner rotations around specific skill gaps rather than ability labels or grade levels. Students should be able to move in and out of groups as they master skills, keeping the groups dynamic and responsive to current learning needs. Consider additional supports such as co-teaching, push-in support from specialists, or peer-led groups. These strategies ensure that every student receives targeted assistance while remaining fully engaged with grade-level content. Here are some examples of flexible grouping in action across grade levels. In an elementary classroom, a guided reading group might support struggling students while the rest of the class reads independently. In middle school math, a skill lab station could allow students who need a review of fractions to practice targeted skills, while other students work on grade level problem sets. In a secondary writing workshop, some students might receive extra feedback on thesis statements, while others focus on drafting body paragraphs. In each case, groups are flexible, targeted, and aligned to student needs, ensuring all learners have access to grade-level content while filling skill gaps. To successfully plan for this, though, instructors have to consistently monitor student progress to determine individual needs. Monitoring student progress is essential for determining if adjustments are needed for whole group instruction or small group accelerated interventions. Some strategies for assessing if adjustments are needed include formative checks. Exit tickets, whiteboard responses, or quick quizzes give immediate insight into student understanding. Observations. If most of the class struggles with a concept, reteach immediately or provide additional support rather than waiting for the next lesson. If only a few students need additional help, then plan to provide accelerated interventions during flexible grouping or rotations. Track progress. Simple tools like spreadsheets, checklists, or data charts help you see who is mastering skills and who needs more targeted intervention. This continuous cycle of checking, observing, and adjusting ensures that acceleration remains effective and responsive to student needs. Here are some examples of monitoring and adjusting during lessons. In an elementary classroom, an instructor might post a quick math problem for students to complete and show their work using whiteboards. If many students struggle, the instructor reteaches the concept using manipulatives before moving on to the next lesson. In middle school, the instructor observes students' progress creating outlines during a writing activity. If some still struggle, the instructor plans to work with them during guided practice the next day. In a high school classroom, the instructor tracks progress and understanding by grading science lab reflection questions. Most students respond incorrectly to one particular question, so the instructor plans to reteach that concept during a mini lesson the next day. These strategies ensure that acceleration remains responsive, targeted, and keeps students moving forward with grade level content. Consider what we've learned about grouping and adjusting for acceleration. How can you use flexible grouping in your classroom? How will you monitor progress in order to adjust instruction for acceleration as needed? Stop the video to write down your answers at this time. In this final section, we focus on how collaboration and intentional planning help accelerate student learning. Acceleration is most effective when instructors collaborate across teams, grades, and content areas. By sharing insights and strategies, educators can ensure that students receive consistent, targeted support throughout their learning. Specialists, interventionists, and paraprofessionals play a key role in providing additional support where it's needed most. Working together, these staff members can help implement mini lessons, scaffolded instruction, or small group rotations. Consistent communication with colleagues ensures that all students are receiving aligned instruction and support. Sharing data helps all teachers monitor progress, adjust strategies, and make sure every student has access to grade level content while filling critical skill gaps. Collaboration can take many forms. Work closely with reading specialists, math interventionists, ELL teachers, and paraprofessionals to provide targeted support. Push-in support or co-teaching models are particularly effective. They allow students to access grade-level instruction while receiving just-in-time help for skill gaps. Coordination is key. Make sure schedules align so that support occurs alongside grade-level lessons, not separately. For example, a math interventionist might work with a small group of students on fraction review aligned to the day's lesson, while the classroom instructor leads the rest of the class through grade-level problem sets. This ensures all students remain engaged with grade-level content while receiving the support they need. Part of successful accelerated intervention involves communicating with families and celebrating student progress. It's important to explain the purpose of accelerated intervention clearly. This approach moves students forward with support, not as a form of punishment. Provide clear examples of what students are learning and ways families can support them at home. This helps families understand the goals and the positive impact of acceleration. Celebrating successes and growth is essential for building student confidence and motivation. For instance, you can share student progress graphs or portfolios during parent conferences to highlight achievements. Another example is inviting students to set personal goals with your support. When students see their growth and understand how acceleration helps them succeed, it reinforces effort and engagement with grade level content. As we conclude, Let's review the key takeaways from today's session on accelerated intervention. First, acceleration is about moving students forward with support, not holding them back or reteaching everything. It is proactive, targeted, and equity-focused. Second, effective acceleration relies on data-driven decision-making. Using universal screeners, formative assessments, student work, and observations help identify gaps, prioritize skills, and monitor progress. Third, research-based strategies such as mini-lessons, flexible grouping, scaffolded instruction, high-impact feedback, and technology-enhanced practice are powerful tools to keep students engaged with grade-level content while addressing skill gaps. Frequently monitor and adjust instruction based on formative data to keep students on track. Finally, planning, collaboration, and reflection are essential. Intentional lesson design, working with colleagues and specialists, and continuous monitoring ensure that acceleration is effective and sustainable. By combining these approaches, we can help all students access rigorous grade-level learning while closing critical skill gaps, ensuring success for every learner. We hope you enjoyed this module on accelerated intervention. Please complete the Check for Understanding, or CFU, and the survey included in the Google Classroom. Thank you, and we look forward to providing continued support for your professional growth at university instructors.